most number of people file to be a delegate at the National Convention this summer. So give yourself applause. We got a lot of work to do, and I know we're going to be on the phones for Nevada and South Carolina. Some of you are going to get on the, I don't know if it's the bus, the truck, your own personal vehicles, I don't know, but for the next 2 weekends into Virginia, which is a Super Tuesday state. So there are a lot of things going on between now and the next 2.5 weeks through Super Tuesday. After Super Tuesday, and building on the sort of like exercising the muscles on the phones and on the doors, then we turn inward to Maryland so that we can get a big win out of Maryland. Because I can tell you, unlike times past, unlike cycles past, I think we really do need to prepare for a very competitive primary election day at the top of the ticket in Maryland on April 28th. I don't think that we should think for a moment that this thing's going to be settled. We may be at the top, but we're going to have folks chasing us from now until the convention, and our focus is on delegate count. So we got a lot of work to do. So let me tell you real quickly, I've been on the Buttigieg campaign for not as long as a lot of you, for about 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and I'll be honest, I was waking up every day in 2019, most of the year, thinking that I was a Joe Biden guy. Okay? Delaware, it's an extension of Maryland's Eastern Shore. Yeah. Everybody likes Uncle Joe. He was Obama's wingman. Why not? Yeah. And while my advocacy and championing the Buttigieg campaign relies on promoting Pete and not on criticizing other candidates, I say that because about what I'm about to say. This is not being critical of the vice president. But when I saw his performance during that first debate, it just dawned on me that I need to be a little bit more responsible in approaching my decision on who I'm going to endorse to be the Democratic nominee and to lead us to victory in November. So, yes indeed. So, I focus a lot on national security and foreign policy. Susie mentioned I'm a vice chair of the House Armed Services Committee in the House of Representatives. So I started by looking at their positions on national security. And in July of last year, Pete gave an extraordinary speech at Indiana University, laying out a framework. Yes, if you saw it, that's great. You should go to YouTube if you got an hour. It's only about a 20-minute read. With all those applause lines, I guess it's stretched out to an hour. But he really frames it up well. Here you have a guy like Will Smith, like Anthony Brown, like others perhaps in this room, put on the uniform, went downrange, and serviced our country. He did a tour of Afghanistan. He understands the important role of a strong military, but more importantly, he understands the need to invest in diplomacy and development. If we're going to promote our interests and our values abroad and protect our security here at home. So he framed it up real nice. I met him in September, and it's sort of that, like maybe that fraternity thing, sorority things, whatever. You meet someone who's been in uniform and it clicks. I spent 30 years in the Army. He spent some time in the Navy, and it just clicked when I met him. I said, this guy, there's something about him. Now, I love Pete Buttigieg, but I'll never stop saying, go Army, beat Navy. But he's got that character, that experience, that judgment that I think is going to serve us well as the next commander-in-chief, particularly coming in the wake of President Trump, who disregards the military, pardons war criminals, treats them as a plaything, wants to put them on parade, underfunds military housing so he can build a wall, and now he wants to underfund procurement projects so that he can even build a higher wall and a longer wall. So we need a Pete Buttigieg as our next commander-in-chief. But I also looked at his record in South Bend as a mayor. And now having served as a lieutenant governor with Governor O'Malley, who cut his teeth as a mayor of Baltimore, I knew the value I saw firsthand of taking that kind of experience and translating that into higher office. It's where the rubber meets the road. There are a lot of good ideas in Washington, D.C., and Pete's going to bring his. But what we need in Washington, D.C. is a leader who can get some results. A leader who's thoughtful like Pete. A leader who's smart like Pete, but recognizes that he doesn't need to be the smartest person in the room. And someone like Pete who's willing to listen, because that's what mayors do. And what people experience in South Bend, what mayors and municipal leaders, and quite frankly, what Americans, the vast majority of whom will live in small cities around the country, in small neighborhoods, in big cities around the country, is that progress isn't always in a straight line. And it often comes in fits and starts. And when you look at what Pete did in that community of South Bend, to deliver affordable housing and drive down homelessness, to improve public safety and address the issues of race and community policing, to revitalize that city with the resources they had. He couldn't do it alone, and he didn't do it alone. He did it in partnership with a very diverse community that is made up of 40% of people of color, 25% of South Bend are African American. So I looked at his record, I said, this is the guy. So I'm signing up. I'm going to join you in this effort. This is a movement. It's not a moment. This is a movement. This is a movement made up of people who are yearning for change. People who are looking for a leader who's inclusive and likes the math of addition, and not a leader like we currently have in the White House, and unfortunately a few on this campaign trail, that speak in terms of division and subtraction. That's the kind of leader that we need, and that's the kind of leader that Pete Buttigieg will bring. He talks about a reconciliation and healing. He talks about bridging the divide that was created not just in the last 3 years, although made worse, but it's been in the making for quite some time in this country. We need a leader who's going to energize core Democrats, not just in an election, but to promote our values, but also will attract independents and, yes, moderate Republicans, many of whom have been disenchanted by the current administration. So he's the leader, not only to beat Donald Trump, but to govern in the days, the weeks, the months beyond. He talks about that controlling image, and I'll leave you with that. He asks you to close your eyes. I won't dare do that while I'm standing up here. And imagine the day when the sun comes up, the first day after the Trump era. And it will come. And it will come in January. And imagine the work that we have to do on climate change, on healthcare, on public safety, on economic growth. Because economic growth, Pete understands, it's not measured by GDP or the Dow Jones. We're going to measure the economy by real income and real wages. And when those start going up, then we'll be able to say that we're successful. So imagine that day come January 2020. So we got a lot of work to do. I'm ready to work with each and every one of you. Let's get it done here in Maryland, around the country. Buttigieg 2020. God bless you.